On October 29th, 3I/ATLAS used the sun's gravity in a Voyager-Like Slingshot, a maneuver only spacecraft have ever done. Then, just 2 days later, it sped up by 287%, shocking NASA and defying every known law of celestial motion. Was it a natural reaction to solar energy? Or something intelligently controlled? Every new data point makes the mystery deeper. Let's dive right in. When Dr. Avi Loeb spoke about 3I/ATLAS, few took him seriously. He wasn't predicting doom. He was asking a question that most scientists were afraid to say out loud. What if this thing isn't just drifting? What if it's doing something? NASA called it a comet. Cold, predictable, harmless. But Loeb noticed details that didn't fit. The path was too perfect. The alignment with planetary orbits too precise. It wasn't chaotic like space debris. It was deliberate, like a traveler who knows exactly where it's going. October 29th, Perihelion, the moment 3I/ATLAS brushed closest to the sun. Loeb said that if the object were artificial, that's when it would act. The sun, after all, is the universe's biggest energy source, a perfect moment for any spacecraft to recharge, redirect, or reveal itself. At first, nothing seemed unusual. It glowed faintly. It moved steadily. NASA relaxed. The internet forgot. But then came Halloween night, and everything changed. That night, the data coming from NASA's Deep Space Network showed something unthinkable. The object's speed didn't just rise, it exploded, jumping by 287% in less than 10 hours. For a 5-kilometer-wide body, that's impossible without propulsion. Gravity couldn't explain it. Solar radiation couldn't. No nearby planet or gas jet matched the timing. It was as if 3I/ATLAS had fired invisible engines, right on cue. Scientists were forced to pull old terminology out of history books, non-gravitational acceleration. The same phrase used years ago for Oumuamua, another interstellar object that behaved more like a machine than a rock. But this was far more exact. No randomness, no wobble, pure precision. And what made it eerie? It happened exactly 2 days after Perihelion, the exact window Dr. Loeb warned about. Coincidence or confirmation? When engineers reviewed the trajectory, the numbers didn't look random. The curve it followed was a textbook solar slingshot, the same maneuver humanity used to send Voyager, Galileo, and New Horizons across the stars. But Voyager had thrusters. Atlas didn't. The orbit wasn't chaotic or unstable. Every motion matched the precise mathematics of an object, using the sun's gravity to boost itself, not being pulled helplessly by it. That's when the tone at NASA shifted. No one said the word spacecraft, but the silence in the data briefings said enough. They were staring at behavior that mimicked intelligent flight. Then came the chemical analysis, and this time the data wasn't mysterious. It was unsettling. Comets usually breathe water vapor when heated. 3I/ATLAS released almost none. Instead, it emitted high concentrations of nickel, far greater than iron. That's not just odd, it's unnatural. In nature, those elements appear together, formed in the hearts of dying stars. But this ratio, it looked refined, engineered. Nickel-heavy alloys are used in spacecraft, jet engines, and reactors, materials that endure heat and radiation. To see that composition in a so-called comet? That wasn't a coincidence. Even more puzzling, the nickel emissions pulsed at consistent intervals, like a system venting or calibrating. Each pulse matched fluctuations in the sun's radiation, almost like it was reacting to solar energy instead of being burned by it. If it's natural, it's the most adaptive rock ever found. If it's not, then someone built it to be that way. When NASA finally released its report, it sounded more like a lawyer's statement than a scientific one. The object exhibited standard, non-gravitational acceleration consistent with cometary behavior, except nothing about 3I/ATLAS was standard. The public report omitted key images, especially the high-resolution frame captured by the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. That image was expected to show surface texture and reflection. Instead, NASA said it was still being processed. No image ever came out. Inside research circles, the phrase, "optical anomaly pending review," began circulating quietly. And that's when something strange started to happen. Not in the data, but in the object itself. Weeks after the acceleration event, astronomers noticed a pattern that made them uneasy. The moment global attention spiked, when media and research focused on the comet, its spectrum readings began to normalize. Metallic emissions faded. The water ratio increased. It started to look ordinary. And then, when interest cooled down, the metallic readings returned. It was almost as if 3I/ATLAS could sense human observation, adjusting its behavior to appear harmless when watched. Dr. Loeb called this adaptive concealment, a kind of intelligent camouflage. Nature doesn't perform for the audience, he said. Only intelligence adapts to attention. If true, it means we're not just observing it, it's observing us back. As October faded into November, the object seemed to fall quiet. No new emissions, no erratic movements, just silence. But in that silence, radio telescopes in Chile picked up something faint. Rhythmic flashes of light, perfectly timed every 10 hours. Too symmetrical to be random, too weak to be a signal. Was it cooling, rotating, or sending something we don't yet understand? For 72 hours, the pulses repeated, steady and calm, and then disappeared. It was as if it had said what it needed to say, and left. By mid-November, over 200 observatories shared their readings. The results formed a pattern that didn't fit natural motion. Every time humans publicly announced a new observation, the object shifted trajectory slightly, just enough to evade perfect imaging. It wasn't random. It was responsive. When you look at that pattern long enough, one conclusion becomes impossible to ignore. 3I/ATLAS was navigating, not drifting, not reacting. Navigating. And if it's navigating, it's under control. That's when the conversation inside NASA changed from curiosity to quiet caution. No one wanted to say it, but everyone understood the implication. We may not be the only ones charting paths through the solar system. Some European researchers began whispering a radical idea. What if 3I/ATLAS isn't solid at all, but hollow? A shell? A probe? A vessel disguised as a comet, wrapped in reflective nickel alloy to blend in with cosmic debris. A machine so old and so advanced, it's still executing a mission written eons ago. That theory, as bold as it sounds, fits the evidence. The precise slingshot, the controlled acceleration, the shifting chemical signature, the rhythmic pulse. If that's true, it means we may have just watched an ancient spacecraft use our sun as a refueling station before continuing its silent journey. Behind closed doors, NASA teams ran endless simulations, gravitational models, propulsion estimates, chemical probability maps. But none of them explained the data, so they stopped trying to explain it. Because to admit what the numbers suggest would mean accepting that our solar system was just visited by something we didn't launch, can't predict, and don't understand. And that's the line no official wants to cross. So they buried it in reports, simplified the data, waited for the news cycle to move on. And in that silence, the mystery deepened. Now, months later, 3I/ATLAS drifts farther into the dark, its light dimming, its pulse gone. But what it left behind is harder to forget than any image or data file. It forced humanity to look at the sky differently, not as a distant spectacle, but as a mirror. Because if an object can navigate, adjust, and respond to us, then it isn't just a comet. It's a conversation. One we didn't start. And maybe that's the real reason NASA stays silent. Because some truths aren't ready to be managed, only witnessed. So, what just happened out there? 3I/ATLAS didn't drift, it acted. It used the sun's gravity like a precision tool, then vanished in silence, leaving behind questions that challenge everything we thought we knew. Whether it was a comet or something far more advanced, one truth remains. The universe is watching, and we should be paying attention. If you value clear, fact-based space reporting that cuts through the noise, this is your place. Like this video, share your thoughts below, subscribe to Galactic Breaking News, and turn on notifications. Because the next revelation could change how we see the cosmos. Stay informed, stay curious, and stay with Galactic Breaking News. NASA thought 3I/ATLAS was a lone wanderer until 4 more objects appeared, all moving in the same mysterious rhythm, crossing Earth's orbital path within days of each other. One glowed green, another trailed for millions of miles, one split in 2, and one was completely dark. Data shows they're synchronized, but how could nature create such precision? Coincidence or coordination? Let's dive right in. When the first data stream appeared on NASA's Minor Planet Center feed, no one paid attention. Just another faint flicker, the kind that turns out to be a cosmic ray, a sensor glitch, or a false detection from overlapping exposures. But within days, that flicker was confirmed by 4 different observatories, all thousands of miles apart. And that's when things stopped making sense. 4 separate signals, 4 objects, all inbound, all crossing Earth's orbital path, not over centuries or decades, but within a single week. The probability of that happening by chance? Less than 1 in 50 million. It wasn't just rare, it was wrong. Soon, the world's most advanced telescopes locked onto them, revealing 4 very different visitors, yet somehow all dancing to the same rhythm. That pattern would soon be known as the harmonic corridor, an invisible highway through space, carved not by gravity but by something far more deliberate. The first one to arrive glowed like a living ember. Astronomers called it the Green Wanderer. Officially, it was catalogued as C/2025 P1, a small, fast-moving comet with a distinct emerald hue. The color came from diatomic carbon, which wasn't strange in itself. What was strange was how violently it glowed. Every hour it got brighter. Not gradually, but exponentially. The readings behaved like a system charging itself, as if it was storing the very sunlight that hit it. That's not how comets work. They reflect light, they don't react to it. Yet this one did. Its energy curve spiked higher than any natural object its size should ever reach. Some called it a supercharged comet. Others weren't so sure, because when its path was plotted, it fit perfectly into a narrow corridor that would later